personal emergencies. So yeah. Um, um, so let's go back to this example. So with the BOT, right? So do you want me to go through the facts of the example again, or the facts of the example are clear? Can you see my screen or not so much?
Yes, sir. You
Yeah.
can see.
So would you like me to start again with the numerical example?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start again. So where we are, so there's a 120-kilometer highway which needs to be upgraded, and the total cost of construction is constant in real terms is 1,000 crores, and the concession period is 15 years. So it's generally, when you talk about concession period, it is from the year it is built, like when it becomes operational. So if it has taken 3 years for it to build, the concession period will start from the 4th to the 19th year. If it has taken 2 years, then it will start from the 3rd to the 18th year. So basically, that's how the concession period works. And there's a discount rate of 10% per annum. All right. So let's start with the BOT tolls. So the BOT toll is the private developer finances it 100% of the cost. So there's a minus 1,000 crores in year 0, and then years 1 to 15 they're getting 120 crores every year annually in revenue. All right. Then the next one is the BOT annuity. So where BOT annuity means that the government is paying. All right. So the developer finances 100%, and the government pays a fixed annuity of 110 crores. So that is minus 1,000 crores, and years 1 to 15, it's getting 110 crores. The hybrid annuity model is the government pays 40% during construction in equal installments. So they're paying 200 crores in the first year and 200 crores in the second year, right? And the developer finances 60%. So the developer will put 400 crores in the first year and 200 crores in the second year. So in year 0, it is minus 200 crores, the private. So we are looking at the economics of it from the private investment perspective. So minus 200 crores. The second year, it is 0 crores because there's 200 coming in and 200 going out. So 200 crores, 0. Then years 2 to 16 is 85. Now, one thing it might be worth thinking about is there a way you might want to redo the financing? If it's, do you want to do 200 crores first and then second year 400 crores? Would it be better? You can actually test that. You can go back and test it. All right. So that would have been 0 and minus 200. But anyway, 2 to 16 is 85 crores every year. So let's do the net present value for this. So the net present value for the BOT is minus 1,000 crores plus 120 multiplied by 1 minus 1 plus interest rate 10 raised to power minus 15 divided by the 10%. We had done this. It's actually, it's easy. It's 1 minus, so it's basically 1 divided by 1 plus, so basically it's the sum of a geometric series. You get this, right? So basically it's 1 minus 1 divided by 1 plus 0.10 raised to power 15, and this is 1 minus 1 minus 1 plus 0.10. So you get 0.10. So when you solve this, so this part is 7.606. All right. So when you do this, when you do the net present value of this, you will get minus 1,000 plus 912.7, that is minus 87 crores. Right? So the net present, so through a BOT toll, the net, the private stakeholders are going to lose money. All right. Then the BOT based on annuity will be even more, minus 163 crores. All right. Which is basically minus 1,000 plus 836.7. So now the HAM, it's called HAM, the hybrid annuity model. Year 0 is minus 200 crore rupees. Year 1 is 0. And then the next 15 payments are at 85 crores. So what you're basically doing is, because it is a truncated one, you'll do 10 raised to power minus 17, and this 1 plus 0.10, 10 raised to power minus 2, divided by 0.10. So this part is 0.826. This part is 0.163. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So that is, and you have this minus 200 from here. So when you do the net present value of these annuities, you get 563.6. Right? So 563.6 minus 200 is 364 crores.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. In fact, this net present value could have been higher if you had gone negative in the year 1. Right? Because that year 1 cost, negative cost, is getting discounted. So if we had asked them to pay all the 400 crores in the first year itself, we could have done better. So there are ways of actually sharing the costs and all of that. And there's a bit of negotiation that happens. But you want to be doing this maths to be able to support the decision maker. Any questions on this?
No, sir.
All right, perfect. Good. So then there is a huge big, so many of you might end up wanting to work for a lot of these concessionaires, right? So one of the biggest ones is like Cube, but there are other ones as well who are using smart technologies to improve PPP. So that when I say improve PPP, they're trying to reduce cost or improve revenue. So how do you do that? How can you improve revenue? By trying to improve the service so that more people end up on that road. How do you reduce cost? By trying to make sure that you're maintaining it in an effective way. You're doing predictive maintenance. You're able to do dynamic tolling. A big part of a lot of these, lot of the losses in the revenue is because of leakages. People will try to get out of the toll. People at the toll gates, people will skim some money out of that. So you can actually use smart technology and predictive analytics to determine how to diagnose and solve that problem. Solve the problem of leakages and also reduce expenditure on maintenance and operations, as well as improve patronage. It's called patronage when you can get more people onto your toll road. All right. So there is a whole bunch of also work that needs to be undertaken from a stakeholder and regulatory engagement perspective. So you need to talk to the community, make sure that they are feeling that it's actually going to help them, and make sure that it's actually going to help them. It's not about the feeling, but it's making sure that it actually helps them. Because the biggest issue with toll roads, which people rightly feel, is that it is discriminatory. Because just because they might not be able to afford it, it's going to increase their travel time, etc. Have robust legal frameworks. So when this takes the most amount of time, the legal framework. because you're actually making sure that the legislative framework is right. Usually, when you're getting into an agreement with a country, you want to have the legal framework in a third country. You generally have people always try to do the legal frameworks so that it's in a neutral country. They might do it in Singapore, they might do it in the UK or the Wales. So there needs to be independence there, and there has to be independent oversight. So model options in transport. So the model options are generally service contracts, EPC and O&M arrangements. So there are service contracts that please go and do it. If there's a certain section that needs to be repaired, go and do it. You don't do that. EPC and O&M arrangements. That means you get a project contractor and an O&M and let them do it, and you give annuity. You give them. The last one, which has been more successful, is because of hybrid annuity. Like you saw, it helps reduce the risk, right? Now, one question which people might ask is, you might ask, where have we considered risk in all of this analysis? Hello, just give me 1 second, please. 1 second. Sorry. Yep. So one of the questions I had in this is, where did we take care of risk here? In all of this, where was the risk? So one way people try to rationalize the risk is when we take this concept of discounting rate. The fact that if you feel like as you go further out into the years, the risk is higher, you increase the discounting rate. And usually what you end up doing is you do a sensitivity analysis to this discounting rate. Okay? Because you're discounting the future. You don't know what might happen to that future risk. Okay, that's number one. Number two is when you're doing these analysis, you do a lot of sensitivity analysis, right? So you do a sensitivity analysis on the annual revenue, the annual cash inflow, on the 10%, also on whether or not you can do it in time. Will you be able to get the 400 this year and 200 next year? So you're doing a lot of robustness checks across this. Okay, so just wanted to highlight that one piece here. All right. This is, oh, sorry. That's the hybrid. So there's a lot of work that is happening, like I mentioned, with data-driven, looking at IoT and digital monitoring to improve efficiency. And the criteria for the model selection, the best criteria for model selection, can never be unilateral, but it is to make sure that there is appropriate risk allocation, there's institutional capacity on both sides, the government and the private side, and there is appropriate technical complexity and financial feasibility. When we say technical complexity, it should not be a simple project which the government can or anybody can do. You want to be doing these things for complex projects with huge amounts of finance requirements, or there's risks. So that's when government should lean into this. Always account for risk management. So demand uncertainty is a big one. That is basically the patronage associated to it. The way you generally do patronage is by doing sensitivity analysis associated with your discount rate as well as associated with your future annual revenue stream that's coming in. You could have policy and regulatory shifts. So this has to be managed by your legal framework, trying to guarantee sovereign, trying to get sovereign guarantees into your legal framework. Always expect construction and completion delays. So how do you incorporate that and revenue leakages? All right. So India generally has India's HAM, right? Like the hybrid annuity model takes a government funding upfront, 40% and 60% balance via annuities, right? So they do this generally, and it has really boosted road development. So there are examples around PPP in India with the Hyderabad Metro, in the US with uh, the Elizabeth River. Like in the US, usually, and even in Australia, you can generally, a lot of these places, you have 25 to 30-year concessions. But there are places which can go over that, right? So the Melbourne Tunnel was, I think, a 30-year, 25 to 30-year PPP, this thing, and the government support for risk allocation. So the way the government supports around the risk allocation is they say that there will be a certain minimum revenue that they say, if you don't reach this, we will contribute. We will support you. So there is sovereign guarantees associated with that. Okay. So this is an Miami also. So there's a risk transfer on cost and performance. So performance, when we talk about performance, it has to not only be based on the patronage, but performance of the road in terms of its smoothness, roughness, etc. And again, you have a lot of these across Europe and Japan and other areas. In fact, India, there has been a lot of them in waste to energy. And the waste to energy have been more on they end up not going, they're not a build, operate, transfer. They're basically more like a build, operate, and then take over. So there are different financing models there. So let me go to the main points in this. So the first point is that the critical aspects around the success of these is having a clear governance, accurate demand forecast, transparent contracts, and strong regulatory frameworks. This is where this is the one part where things fall, right? Like a lot of, if you study the literature and look at case studies of places where the PPP models have fallen, is because of inaccurate demand forecasts. And that's why a lot of effort is put into the transport modeling piece upfront in these. The reason is because there's over optimistic demand estimates, because when there is more incentive now to get the project up and running because there will be money flowing, right? So people are thinking short term. The second one is cost overruns. Always account for cost overruns. Political instability, I have seen that happen so many times. And when you're doing community consultation in that design stage, equity and access issues will keep coming up, right? You will have to have exceptions also in your so exceptions associated to weather events, acts of God, things like that. When things are bad, how will you take care of the situation? So hybrid PPP are essential for any smart cities which are trying to grow at a rate to maintain to ensure that they are able to serve the demands of the cities. And it's critical for budget constraint settings. And governance and transparency will remain vital in all of this. So with that, I'd like to stop. Any questions?
So, sir, these all modes are we are using SDM mode software. or any software which
You
can
can
use?
use any software. So HTM, the reason why HTM was used a lot was because it does a lot of these calculations easily. But again, remember that HTM does it on the life cycle analysis of the payment and the role,
Okay.
right?
For economic point of view, which
So,
software
so
is that?
again, HTM from an economic point of view does costs. It does mostly on the cost. You still have to do. It doesn't do demand forecast. You have to.
Okay.
You still have to do it. There's an entire piece of work which you need to do on the demand.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any questions?
No, sir.
All right, guys. So it's been an absolute pleasure. So will be my last lecture. I will see you later this evening, but this is going to be the last lecture I'm going to be delivering. I really hope you have enjoyed and it was useful. Um, I'm looking forward to the feedback from this this course, and ways we can improve, uh, the things which you would have liked to see as well in this.
Yes, sir. It is more.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. One last request to you.
Yes.
Sir, you have shared your last PPT means 20 and 21 dates PPT. We are not get it. Are you
Okay.
sharing?
I've shared it. I'll talk to and let me talk to
Yeah.
everyone, and I'll try to have that sorted ASAP. Let me
Yes.
see what. Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.